Sleepers Podcast, Tuesday, June 11th. And yes, we are tropical this week. That's what's going on. As you can see, Carter has the reflection of a palm tree behind him. I have hole 3 behind me. And somehow, some way, we're making a podcast come through your speakers, through your headphones, into your ears right now. Cart, you ambushed me, trying to surprise me with the fact that you are in Florida without telling me. Why did you do that way?
Because it made me happy.
It made me happy too. It was a pretty nice reveal this morning when I realized that's where you are. A baby moon? That's what the people are saying?
Yeah, baby moon. Didn't really know those were an actual thing, but it's just kind of like the one of the last vacations before baby gets here, and you just kind of you don't do much on the baby moon though. It's like very just kind of relaxing, which I think is my favorite type of vacation. I might want every vacation to be a baby moon, because for me, the best vacation is like going somewhere nice, pool, body of water would be preferable, but like really no plans, and then adult beverages. And that's like literally all I have.
That's
all
nice.
week.
What's in
And
the
that's all.
fridge this week?
We got Corona Premiers, which are a new favorite of mine. They're really, really good. And also, of course, the Mexican mules. That's my go-to beverage nowadays. You know that ginger beer, tequila, reposado, lime, and whatever juice you want. And the juice of choice this week is grapefruit juice. So they're doing the job. I'm in a great place right now, mentally and physically.
So what I'm hearing from you, it might be a good time to bring a Drunk Scouts back.
I mean, you just say the word and I'll say, yeah.
I mean, a Drunk Scout Zach Edey would be really fun. We haven't done that in years, but
Can we change the rules? Can we change the rules? I mean, we were doing like what? Finish your drink during free throws?
We can
Like,
tweak
come
the
on.
rules. We can tweak the rules for sure. Yeah, I love the ambush vacation move by you. I love that you're pro baby moon. You also do realize like you could have many baby moons if you want. Like if you want, just be a volume shooter over the next 12 years, you could go on 12 different baby moons.
I don't know if you can do multiple baby moons though. It's like you don't do multiple, which another thing I learned, you don't do multiple baby showers. Like
I did not know that. No.
on the second kid, you do what's called a sprinkle. So it's not a full baby shower, it's just a sprinkle. I think that's a
Oh,
thing.
because they gave you gifts that could be hand-me-downs already for the first.
Yeah, or maybe if it's a different gender baby, maybe you do another shower, but apparently a sprinkle is what comes after a baby shower. I'm really learning nowadays.
Yeah, you are. I'd prefer to call it a drizzle rather than a sprinkle if that's what we're doing.
Yeah, too. Yeah, that is true. I don't like the head coach of Washington.
Do you think you're going to be able to focus for this episode? I know that your mind is other places after Drake Instagrammed a picture of himself at his child's soccer game with a belt that is about 11 inches too long.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm in a great spot mentally and physically right now.
Okay. Do you feel a little ambushed that I ambushed you with the counter ambush of being on the golf course after you've been in Florida?
Yeah, I mean, you tried your best. I think that's the best ambush attempt you could have made. It's not enough, but it was something that I batted my eye at maybe longer than I should have.
Okay. Well, learn from your mistakes. I'm not in the sun today, so that's good. I'm burnt still. Like skin is still peeling from the last sunburn a couple weeks ago. So, all right, hey, we're going to try and be positive today, given the fact that Cart's on vacation and every day is a vacation for me these days. We are going to try and be positive. We're going to have some vacation-like positivity. All 3 of our segments today are best case scenario segments for, in my opinion, the 3 most polarizing teams in Big Ten basketball this season. We're stealing the concept from David Klein, who was on the show a couple weeks ago doing Michigan State, and he had us envision the best case scenario for every Michigan State player. Today, we will envision the best case scenario for every Illinois player, every Purdue player, and every Indiana player. Should be a fun episode. Also, I don't know if you and I are capable of that much positivity, but we'll give it a shot. Why don't you start with the YouTube comment of the day?
YouTube comment of the day comes from Aaron Weeks, and Aaron says, "Great song selection, Greg." Referring to our Hurley Decision Day video where you did a Billy Joel rendition. Go check that out if you have not. Greg, well done. Billy Joel is fire for folks over the age of 40. I do think if Carter went to one Billy Joel concert, he would be a fan. Billy Joel concert is the next bucket list for Carter after Wrigley Field. Too bad he stopped playing at Wrigley. He could have done both. He's coming to Soldier Field very soon. I'll comment on that. There actually is a pretty good chance that if I went to a Billy Joel concert, I would somehow become a fan. That is something that is definitely part of my wheelhouse. I'm not going to Soldier Field. Soldier Field's excuse my language, Soldier Field's a shithole from everything that I've heard from the masses. So there's no reason for me to go there whatsoever.
Are you just anti all things Chicago? Is that what we're learning about you?
No, 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 I wouldn't say that. I like the city. I like Chicago stuff. I like Portillo's.
Okay. Yeah, I will actually echo. I didn't like Soldier Field. It's probably the one big athletic venue that I've been to that I did not enjoy, and I went for a Coldplay concert. It was just overwhelming. Very, very big. I didn't like it.
You like Coldplay?
Yeah, I'll say I like Coldplay. Yeah. I'm not like a
Yeah.
diehard fan as many people are, but I think they make good music.
Okay. Just wondering.
Also, it was in the rain. It was pouring rain, and everybody had like glow stick wristbands. It was actually a pretty cool visual, but I did not enjoy being wet listening to Sky Full of Stars.
Yeah, never want to be wet listening to Coldplay.
It actually wasn't that bad. Let's get to the show. We'll start with our Discord comments today. In fact, today's the first day ever somebody joined the Discord specifically to get us to do a topic that they wanted. So apparently that's a thing. We can be bought now. Join the Discord, and we'd love to see you in there. $9.99 a month. Be a real Sleeper supporter. It's the #1 way to support the show so that we can go out and hire people. By the way, we've been hiring people. We're in a little bit of a hiring flurry right now. Do you want to speak to that?
No, not really, because I want to let things play out the way they should play out. We're not gonna go out here flexing our ads.
Okay, I'm gonna speak to flexing our ads because like we're not like a mid major. We have to like promote ourselves as a high major and be a blue blood here in the podcasting space. Yeah, we added a 5-star in my opinion. Dylan Terpstra, aka D Terp, who is a name you've probably heard on the show if you're a regular listener. He has been in the Discord supporting us. He is a college student, Michigan State fan, and he makes incredible designs, lists, just all sorts of things. Reminds me of a young Joe Tipton. Yeah, I'm going to put that pressure on him. If we're doing a player comp for D Terp, he reminds me of Tipton edits himself. He makes great looking things, and we don't make many great looking things visually for our social medias. So we know we need to up the socials. D Terp is now aboard the team. Hopefully, we can help him get him some experience and maybe help him break into the industry a little bit. And hopefully, he can help us make shit that looks cool. There are some people out there that are wondering if this is D Terp coming for Guy's spot, if this is a statement on our beliefs on how Guy has performed. Would you like to acknowledge those rumors?
No, I think every one of the main things that makes Sleepers great is that we're a duo. So if we can put together a young duo group of killers, we're gonna do so. So what we're doing is we're equipping Guy with another young weapon that I think they can work off each other and work with each other. And that's what I hope it becomes. I'm trying to think of what's our favorite young duo currently.
I mean, it was Dillingham Shepard.
Honestly, good comp.
Is Guy? Why do I feel like Guy's Dillingham in that comp? A little
The
more
only reason
unpredictable.
the only reason I don't like that comp is like, wouldn't that make you like a Duke Thiero and make me like Trey Mitchell?
One of us could be Antonio Reeves. He is number 12. And you're Big
Ooh.
Z.
Wow. So I mean, I do sometimes need limited minutes, I guess, in some scenarios.
I mean, I don't think we fit into the comp. Yeah, I said that like was Malik Renew mad when they added Umar Ballo? No, the team got better. They're gonna figure it out. You got two talented front court players. We got two talented content creators here. That's how I view it. Yeah, Guy, I think there was a misconception that like Guy ran our socials. If Guy was running our socials, we would have fired Guy because nothing comes out on the socials. So we are going to get Guy more involved in things for sure. Guys will return this offseason. Guy has some other things in the works that he wants to do that we want to help facilitate. That's a very clever, talented, fun young man that loves college basketball. He is still very much in the plans. D-Terp is just going to help make everything look good. That's how I view this. D-Terp will help grow our socials, promote the show, promote everything we're doing, and hopefully we can help promote things that D-Terp is doing as well. The dream team gets bigger, and I think this is the third time this summer already that I've called you and said we need to hire someone, and you've said yes every single time. People are concerned you're becoming a pushover.
Becoming my brother, I am a pushover.
Can we hire someone live on the show right now?
Who do you want to hire?
I would need to think about it, but I have like a list of targets for sure.
Okay, sure.
Could we fire someone live on the show right now?
100%, yeah.
Who would be most fireable right now out of everybody that we work with in a somewhat paid capacity?
I mean, this is no indictment on him, but it'd have to be Jacob. And I love Jacob, but I think that he talks too much shit about me. And if I had to fire someone that talks shit about me, it'd be Jacob.
I was gonna throw out a Riley Davis. Maybe Riley's getting a little too comfortable.
Nah, I really bank on Riley being in my corner a lot. Like Jacob sometimes isn't in my corner. So like if I can get someone not in my corner out, like, it'd be Jacob, 100%.
You did address this the last time we hired someone. Yet another Caucasian man has been added to the roster. Your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, it's not even that. It's the fact that you hired a kid that went to Hope. That's insane. That's though I let it go for the brand because it's good for the brand. The fact that I'm working with the Dutch doesn't sit right with me.
All right, let's get to the Discord comments. But shout out to D-Terp. We're very excited to have you aboard. We start today with let's see, Luke, who says, I need some relationship advice. My girlfriend caught me sleepwalking last night and is threatening to break up with me. Apparently, I was wandering around screaming, Heidi isn't proven, TKR can't play the 5, Colvin has no basketball IQ. I scared her and might be single now. What do I do?
If she can't come to grips with the fact that this might be a somewhat groundbreaking season with the personnel that could come across with Purdue Boilermakers, then I think she needs to honestly look within herself because that's coming from a place of it's on your mind.
Well, Luke is an Illinois fan, so he's got sleep hating going on. Like some people that have sleepwalking, he has sleep hating. You are a longtime sleep hater.
I am. I hate 24/7. I hate when it's not convenient.
Yeah, if some of the best hours of the day, hating wise, aren't in your sleep, then you just aren't petty enough. But I responded in the Discord at the time. I think this was a Friday comment, and I told him just call your girlfriend and ask her to promise you a starting role, then threaten to leave if you don't get one. That seems to work out for everybody. Maynard says game 1 of the NBA Finals got 11 million viewers. If the Final Four posted that number, we would be getting written think pieces and soliloquies from ESPN about how college basketball is a dying sport. Think they will do the same thing for the NBA, or do we get who is the face of the NBA instead?
Oh, we get who is the face of the NBA instead. 100%. Easily.
Why is that?
Do you know anyone who just does things innately the wrong way all the time, even though they maybe know it's wrong?
I
Like
can't possibly. I can't think of anyone in my life who does things wrong all the time.
Is that a shot at me?
Of course not.
It's been a while since I've been a victim of your mental warfare. But what my point is on this is that sometimes they just do it. That's because of how they are. That's how they operate. That's in their morals. They only know one way to do things.
ESPN's a moneymaker. I agree with the sentiment here, though. I will do it. I'll say it. This has been the worst NBA Finals since I've been alive. This has been the worst NBA playoff since I've been alive. I will go so far as to say the sport may be cooked. Bring back super teams. This is horrible. We're about to see a team cakewalk to a 4-0 sweep, maybe 4-1 if Dallas is lucky, that has Drew Holiday leading them in scoring, like comfortably. Like, okay, cool, great. Jason Tatum, yeah, he had 13 assists. Woohoo. Like, I get it. Boston's good. In past 20 years of NBA basketball, in my opinion, this Boston team would have lost in the conference finals at furthest to most of the championship teams. But right now, there's no super team. All the actual Hall of Famers are old, and all the young bucks would rather be playing with their horses or in the Chick-fil-A drive-through.
It's kind of depressing.
It's extremely, extremely depressing. And the hope was that Luka would take that next step and transcend. But even though he's doing that right now, Kyrie, I don't know what planet that dude's on right now.
Yeah, well, he's on planet Hella or whatever he said. I don't know. Whatever he says he is. He needs to tighten up though.
But like, congrats to Boston. Like, it's a well-earned ring. Congrats to them. But like, if we just let this specific version of Boston rattle off like 3 straight rings in the next 3 years, sports cooked. Guy says, I take the ACT tomorrow and I haven't studied for it yet. What do you think I will score out of 36? Average is 27 is what he says.
I feel like Guy's naturally just him. I think he's gonna struggle on the math portion, if I had to guess. So I'm gonna say he gets a 32, no study.
Why do you think he'll struggle on math?
Because I think that he thinks he knows more than the average calculator.
Possibly. Is that per source that he struggled on the math?
No, that's just me guessing. Why? Is that a real thing?
He texted us that he struggled on math this morning.
Did?
And I know you read this.
I'm
He
sorry, guy.
says, first off, I dispute that he says the average is a 27. That seems high for average ACT score in America. Like, Card, I think you're a rather intelligent human being. What did you score on the ACT?
27 the first time and then a 28 the second time.
Yeah, I don't think you're like average intelligence. I think you're above average intelligence. So I dispute that 27 is average.
My 28 would speak for that.
I predicted that Guy would get a 32, but then he told me he was going to study for it, and I dropped down to a 29. So I'm gonna stick with 29 right now. Let's see here. Coleman's burner says up late, imagining Coleman comes back to Illinois. Was thinking that Coleman said he wants to go to a school with a good football program. Is this the first ever scenario where a certain school's football program pushed out a basketball player? Also, do you think if Illinois was good at football that Coleman would stay?
No. I don't think that has any factor. I also don't think that the whole him going to a football school thing is even that big of a factor. I truly think that was just like something Coleman said, and it was cool.
Yeah, I don't think it's real either. And no, if Brett Bielema had things rocking, it would not change. Brett Bielema did block me, by the way. Never forget that. Andre L says, what's your guys' weirdest fear you've ever had? I have a weird fear that just came up again yesterday. I frequently find myself having to drive through the campus of a basketball-centric college and have seen basketball players in many crosswalks coming out of buildings. I now have this growing fear that what if one day I'm not paying attention and I accidentally hit one of them with my car and end up ruining this guy's career and the season of that team and end up like the Cubs fan that everyone wanted to kill. First, it was a joke. Now I legit focus more on driving when I drive through that area on the off chance.
Hmm.
First off,
Okay.
always focus while driving. That's a point I want.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. I'm trying to think like what's a weird one for me. It's not really that weird of a fear, but I love the casino game craps. I feel the immense pressure of the world when I have the dice in my hands, and my worst fear of all time is crapping out on the first roll. Like that, I've never like it just even saying it out loud right now just makes me quiver.
You crave that pressure though too. Like I've seen you. You're asking for the dice. Like
I know I do because you got to at least you got to want it. You can't come in with that fear, but it's something that's always in the back of my mind, unfortunately.
yeah, you're a pressure performer. I would say. So have you ever seen the movie Disturbia?
With Shia LaBeouf,
Yeah.
yeah,
That exact whole plot is a fear of mine. Just like having a neighbor that is a serial killer.
that's always one that I used to have when I was younger, and I don't even know what movie it came from. It was that somebody was always hiding under my car trying to get me. Like I come out of the mire and I'm getting ready to get in my car, and like someone would be underneath and they would just like stab me in my Achilles or something, and I'm cooked.
Yeah, that would be bad. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever talked to you about this. I certainly don't want to go in too much detail on the show, but I did live through a somewhat real Disturbia in the house that I grew up in.
Yeah, you told me that. Wasn't somebody like being Samurai Jack like a couple houses down from you?
So, yeah, to summarize without getting into too much detail and also making sure this doesn't make its way back to them and I die. I had a neighbor that I strongly believe was a member of some sort of I think it was the Chinese mafia. I believe that's what it was. I don't want to make sure I might have gotten the wrong nationality here, but lived across from an Asian family that had like there's well documented mob ties, and our neighbor's nephew was actually found beheaded. Like this was news in Lansing. Our neighbor's nephew was found in a car beheaded in downtown Lansing when I was like a high schooler, right around the time Disturbia came out. And there were like cop cars at the house. There were like cars, family coming through all week. I think they like cops were just kind of they were the closest family to this person that was found beheaded. So there was police presence in and out. And some weird things happened that week. Some weird things happened that week that really scared me.
Shout out to Johnny Chang.
You,
Johnny Tang, sorry, is his name.
I don't. Are you making that up?
No, you never seen Rush Hour?
Oh, good lord. Ulamog says,
Yeah,
Greg, can
it's
you
a goddamn
expand?
Latin.
Can you expand on the Black Swan comp for your life? I for some reason I thought you were going to expand on that for me.
No, I mean, I don't know if I can. You were never a ballerina, and that's a fact.
Black Swan, a good movie. To me, to not reveal too many spoilers, it's mostly about like how some ballerinas had some devilish tendencies. That one was
Sorry, can I cut it off? Can we not talk about Black Swan because it is wasn't there a scene where like that
yes.
they gotta like peel back a hangnail from the toe? I can't think about that movie without thinking about that, and I hate it.
Yeah, there's some really, really gross scenes, but no, just I up close and personal, I found ballerinas have devilish tendencies. That's the comp in my life. D Terp says, "What college do you think could pull off the #1 recruiting class in football and basketball in the same year?" My quick answer would be Alabama, maybe Texas. A lot of people love this comp. Tershel said USC, or this question. Tershel said USC. Mono said very fun question. There were a couple other answers in there as well. Who do you think could have #1 in football and basketball?
Oh, I'm gonna go with Texas. Texas or sleeper pick, Texas A&M.
Hmm. I think a lot of the SEC schools, like I think Alabama, I think Auburn, a weird West Coast one. I think USC could potentially do it, especially with Muss in the fold. But yeah, I don't know. Is it leaping too far to say like maybe Michigan could do it? They had
Yeah,
a
it might be.
couple. They had a couple top 5 basketball classes with Beeline.
I mean, yeah, I could. There's a world.
Dusty would need to get it rocking, but I think that the safe answer is probably the SEC schools. We got
Sorry,
something
my
going on here.
dog's just losing in the back.
Oh, that's tough. I don't hear anything. Dreadhead Dev Royal to King says, I'm off Greg Campy. That's a random one, but yeah, you can be off Greg Campy. That's okay. Guy says, am I in my Caleb Grill era? I hope not. Jack J7 says, what does Illinois look like this year and the past few if Curbelo and Adam Miller were going into their COVID years as Illini?
I think they'd be one of the best backcourts in the country. I feel confident saying that.
I still
They'd
really
be
believe in
pretty
Adam
nasty.
Miller. Adam Miller was the one I was really sad about. I liked Curbelo too, but I thought Miller could be really, really good. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think it would have had a negative impact on the locker room, probably, from what we know, but uh, would be talented for sure. Eric NJ Boiler says that was a great version of Moving Out by Greg. Billy Joel has been doing one concert per month at MSG for over 10 years now. The July show will be his last one and his 150th performance at MSG.
He does a concert a month at MSG.
That's a power move.
Yeah, it's also a crazy money grab. That's knowing your wheelhouse right there. Like, why go on a world tour when you can go where the conglomerate of fans are at one of the most famous arenas in the world and just and run it up? Like Billy Joel, actually, I might be a Billy Joel fan now. I didn't know that. I'm in.
Guy says my conspiracy theory is that Russell M. Nelson is secretly a massive hoop head. Parentheses, Google him.
What's his name?
Russell M. Nelson.
Russell M. Nelson, an American religious leader and retired surgeon who's the 17th and current president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Secret hoop head. Is that our king?
He does have a bit of like, he's got like a little bit of Brad Davison in his face.
Are we Russell M. Nelson guys?
Not from his Wikipedia pic.
I'm a big middle initial guy. Like anybody who actually puts the middle initial verbally in their title, I like.
Yeah, I feel like I need to use my middle initial more.
Yeah, it's a good one. D Terp says the answer is yes. I can dunk. Carter, you do not know my bag.
If I don't see video proof of it, I'm not buying it.
We just hired an above the rim swingman. That's good. Makes us instantly more athletic because you are a below the rim big.
I can, out of us two, I can actually get above the rim. So,
but we're both below the rim players at our position. This is a big athleticism boost that was much needed.
I need to see video proof.
He can give you video proof, I promise. Final comment today is from Toon. Great comment about Kentucky not wanting someone to linger around, just being okay. My friend who is a Steelers fan gets pissed every year. Mike Tomlin continues his winning streak season with no postseason success. What is one NBA team you want to see flame out to rebuild?
One NBA team I want to see flame out and rebuild, the Detroit Pistons.
We've already flamed out, though, and the rebuild didn't work.
Well, do it again.
I'm trying to think of like a gross veteran team that I don't like the build of. I don't have a good one coming to mind right now. Like,
what about like the Bulls or something?
yeah, they're
gross. Are they
gross.
not? They're gross.
Somebody that would just like bottom out.
The Hawks.
I think I would have said the Clippers.
Actually, the Hawks. Hawks is what I want.
Well, they just got the number pick, so that helps too.
We'll make it work now.
Yeah. All right. Thank you to everybody in the Discord. Great job with the comments today. Carter, who are we brought to you by?
We are brought to you by the good folks over at 2K Labs. 2K Labs has everything you need. They can give you the best player builds. They can give you, who to go with, what attributes to go off of when you're trying to make the best 2K team, which is something I need because I'm not the best 2K player of all time. And right now, they're actually providing a draft simulator. And that draft simulator and that draft big board has a certain entities player rankings on it. Have you seen that, Greg? Do you know who's on there by any chance?
Oh, I believe that's us, Sleepers Media here. Yeah, we have a top 75 big board that we really worked hard on that is featured at NBA2KLab.com. You can sort players by ESPN, by CBS, or by our rankings, which is what is preset in there. You can play all of their mini games, including the NBA Draft Simulator at NBA2KLab.com/NBA-mini-games. The link is in the description of this video. Thank you to NBA 2K Lab for partnering with us as we work on NBA draft content leading up to the draft later this month. Let's get to the show. Time to be positive. Best case scenario. Illinois fighting Illini. We did this exercise with Michigan State. I don't know why I'm doing this with my hands. That feels weird, but I'm just going to rock with it. We did this this exercise with Michigan State.
Please stop.
It's like the mummy thing, right? Like
no, it's not like the mummy thing. It's like the mummy thing.
A little too much zest there.
Just a little too much Jalen Ramsey for my liking.
Okay, well, we did this with Michigan State a couple weeks ago, and DK made us do this. Spartan Hoops DK. He made us go player by player and basically say what the best case scenario season would look like for them, and then add it all up and try to figure out what's the best case scenario for the team. Illinois is the first team we want to do this exercise for. We have been all over the map on how we feel about certain players on this team, on what exactly we think they're going to be. I kind of have them in bubble territory. I think I had them as a 9 seed. You had them as a 7 or an 8 seed, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly last week. So
yeah, I think it was 6, 7.
Okay, so yeah, we I think we both landed on we think they're a tournament team, but I still don't know who their best player is. So this could be a really fun exercise as we go guy by guy. Let's just work our way down the roster and identify what a best case season looks like for them. Starting with their starting point guard, we presume Kylan Boswell. What does a best case scenario look like for Bam Bam Boswell?
Okay, this is positivity, right? There, I think the best case scenario for Kylan Boswell is that he's a first team All Big Ten guard.
That's really high, but maybe, maybe.
I mean, if you think about it, the lock right now is Braden Smith, right? And the other lock is probably like what? Didn't we have Big Ten locks on Big Ten teams recently?
Yeah, we there was a conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, I think best case scenario is that Illinois is like a top team in the Big Ten, and that Kylan Boswell has a fantastic year when he's finally realizes that he doesn't have to play like a young guy anymore because he's a young guy.
What do the numbers look like if that's the ceiling?
I think he averages like 15 points a game, 16 points a game. Like he becomes one of the main scorers for Illinois and probably chips in at least 5 assists and 4 rebounds.
Okay, so I'm high on Kylan. First off, any best case season for him would start with he lists himself in the official roster as Bam Bam Boswell. No more Kylan. Like his name is Bam Bam Boswell. If he does that, I can at least sort of see something exciting coming for him. I am lower on Kylan than Carter is here. I don't think, even in a best case world, he is a top 5 player in the league, but I think he's a top 10 player in the league. And I think he could be first or second in the league in assists. I worry that the scoring won't be there because I think in a best case version of Illinois, with everybody being the best case version of themselves, Boswell is the true setup man, and all the guys on the wing hit and become your scorers. So what that would look like to me is like maybe 11 or 12 points a game, but like 6+ assists, 6, 7 assists a game. Make his three, shoot 40% from three, and kind of just be the engine, be the offensive pass first engine of a really good team whose pieces hit elsewhere. And I think that would add up to like a second team All Big Ten appearance where he's not the best player on Illinois, but the second best player on Illinois.
So why don't you think he best case scenario he can get to that first team? I don't want to get too hung up on it, but like why couldn't he be like
Because
the
I don't,
second?
I think if this is like a best case for everybody, that's not what's best for Illinois. Like if Kylan
Gotcha.
Boswell is the scorer on this team, I think that says something about where everybody else is.
Okay, I got you. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Okay. So down the list to a guy I will be higher on, Kasparis Jakashonis. Best case scenario for him.
Best case scenario. Best case scenario is he's Big Ten Player of the Year.
That's where I'm at too. There is a world here where this dude is actually a top 10 talent in college basketball and a no-brainer lottery pick. And if we're really just doing the 1% outcome, that's the best. Like he could have one transcendent season at Illinois.
Yeah, 100. I mean, if he's doing the playmaking, like if he's basically doing what he was doing at that ANGT tournament, like if he's working like that and putting up those kind of numbers, he's Big Ten Player of the Year.
Yeah, I think it's scoring with the assist. That would be the big thing. Like, could he get to like 15, 16 a game mixed with like 5 assists while Boswell's really still the passer and he shoots well from three? That's what I would like to see. I think it is doable. I don't think it's likely, but I think it is doable. And I think of all the players on Illinois, he's the one I keep coming back to that I feel is the highest ceiling guy here. Him or one other guy. I've one other guy that I want to throw out. Let's go down the list. So I guess we're expecting that's the starting backcourt. Who do we want to say is the starting three? You could do Trey White. You could do Ty Rodgers. You could do Rickhouse and put him at the three. I think those are the three realistic options.
I think we say Ty Rodgers, right? Like he probably starts.
The smart move would be Ty. The safe move would be Ty. What's a great season, best season for Ty Rodgers look like?
Do you remember no Joel Eastern's best year at Purdue?
I can look it up, but you scare me with this.
No. Best case scenario for Ty. To be honest with you, like he finds somewhat of a reliable jumper. I can't ever shake the fact that I saw Ty Rodgers play a lot in high school and on the AAU circuit, and the jumper's like not broken. The fact that he's a complete non-shooter just like really doesn't sit right with me. But I would say he averages 11 to 12 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists.
I think that's too high. Um,
Too high in which category?
11 points. I just don't think that's Ty. I just like, and again, if it's a best case version of everybody on Illinois, I think Ty looks a lot like he did last year because everybody else hit, and he's just like the role player, locker room leader guy, and there's nothing wrong with that at all.
So his best case scenario is that he's a locker room guy.
Yeah, I think so.
Ah,
I think
ah.
so, Car. And like a great defense guy. No Gel Eastern was a really great defense guy. He was all Big Ten defender. Like that's it. No Gel Eastern's best season was 5-4. So
That was his best year.
yeah, he wasn't good. Wasn't good at all.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Alrighty then.
yeah, which is very similar to what Ty already is. And no, I'm sorry, I lied a little bit. No Gel's best year was 7 points and 5 rebounds. His senior or his junior year, his final year at Purdue was 5-4. So I think that's about it. Like get to like 7-4. Just be all first team defense. I think that's in the cards. But like captain, defense, intangible bullshit. To the 4, Ben Rickhouse. This one I'm intrigued by. What's the best case ceiling for Rickhouse?
The best case ceiling, he leads Illini in scoring. Can I get away with saying that, or do I have to say a number?
I want the number, but
Okay. I'm higher on Humrickhouse. I'm sorry. I'm higher on Ben Humidifier than a lot of people are. I think the best case scenario is that he actually leads the Big Ten in scoring.
what's the number? You're about to again, without giving a number, you're gonna move to he leads the country in scoring. It's just getting crazier and crazier, but you won't say a number.
I think he averages like 17 and a half a game.
That would feel low if that led the league in scoring.
That was probably second last year to Zach Edey's 24.
Jameer Young was up there. Boo Booey was up there.
They were probably around 18 to 20.
I'd have to look, but to me in my head, those guys were higher than 17 and a half. Well, I mean, Terrence Shannon, Damask, I'd like to know where they ended up without looking. All right, 17 and a half and leads the Big Ten. Like anything else with him or just a bucket?
Just a bucket. I think that's the best case scenario.
Does that, if he leads the Big Ten in scoring, is he first team all Big Ten?
So Terrence Shannon averaged 23 last season, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, there were a lot of good scorers in the league last year.
Yeah, I'm sleeping on the scores in the league. I just really quickly want to see what Damask averaged. Damask averaged 16.
Wasn't Bruce Thornton like 17-ish too? Like there are a lot of
Bruce Thornton was around 17, I believe.
Tyson Walker, a lot of guys.
Tyson Walker was like at 18.
You're gonna have to up this, I think, if you think he's gonna lead the Big Ten in scoring.
Bruce Thornton averaged 16 again. Okay, you know what? Yeah, he'll lead the league in scoring with 19 a game.
Okay, that feels more likely. So in the best case world, you think Rickhouse leads the Big Ten in scoring? I would assume that makes him all first team Big Ten. And you also think Jack Kashonis could be Big Ten Player of the Year. And you also think Boswell could be first team all Big Ten. So like if they all actually hit their all Big Ten, I would assume all three of those don't happen, right? Like
yeah. No.
So you're going individually at the expense of other guys repeatedly.
Yeah.
Let's say they all hit their ceiling at the same time. Which one is like the guy?
Probably Kasparis.
That's sort of where
that should be the answer, but I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm higher on Humidifier than others are. Like I think like I feel better about what Humidifier can do compared to the others.
So do you have Boswell third out of those three then of like most likely?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I would put Ben last out of those three. If we're doing like most likely to end up first team All Big Ten, I would do Kasparis 1, Boswell 2, Rickhouse 3, and I could be wrong. To me, be careful on this. I'll get to my best case version, which is different than this in a moment. I think Rickhouse might be closer to Quincy Guerrier than he is to Marcus Damask. And everybody wants to like pencil him in as like the bucket getting Damask guy. After they got Rickhouse, all that Brad has done since is try and get a bazillion instant impact perimeter guys. If they thought Rickhouse was that impact guy, do we think they would be trying to get Will Riley to classify right now? Do we think they would have dropped the bag for Kasparis? Like, in my opinion, they needed one, but they didn't need two. And the fact that Brad thinks they need two points to the fact that Rickhouse might just be more of a catch and shoot role guy than he is a star. So I think there's nothing wrong with that for the record. I like the Rickhouse ad, but I think any talk of him being like a first team All Big Ten guy in the mold of Damask is disingenuous to his game versus what Damask game was coming in.
I'll accept that because you do make some very valid points, but I'll also respectfully disagree.
Yeah, I've been wrong before. Damask is the best example, but I think like making the comp to Damask because they both transferred doesn't make a lot of sense when you look at what they actually do. For me, I'll say the best case version of Rickhouse is a 45% shooter from three. Just lead the Big Ten in 3-point shooting, a total no-brainer knockdown guy that I think adds up to like 13 a game as a role, like as a third option on this Illinois team. And I think that'd be a really, really good season for him. To the 5, who do you think starts at the 5?
Big Tom.
Tom instead of Merez?
Yeah, Big T probably starts at center.
Okay, what's the best case version for Big T?
Oh, best case version for Big T. He just makes it through the season. Nah. Mm, the best case for Big T. The thing is, like, they just never really. I mean, Kofi obviously was featured, but I don't really see them just feeding Tom like that and just being like, go score the ball. I'd say best case is that he leads the Big Ten in rebounding while also like chipping in 9 points a game and like 2 blocks.
I'm gonna say like a double-double. Like could he be like 11 and 10 and shoot some threes, make like a 3 a game?
Super best case scenario is he's better than Umar Bala.
Yeah. I think a best case would be a double-double. I don't want to go crazy in that because I feel like that's the interesting thing about Illinois is we're going guy by guy being like player of the year for every single guy. And like, I think it's because we don't know who the first option is, less that like these guys are actually talented enough to do that. Moving to the bench, Trey White. Best case scenario would be he starts, right? We have him off the bench, but what
Yeah.
does Trey White look like?
Best case he starts, and best case stats I think are he averaged like 14, 13 a game at Louisville. I think his best case. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Ooh. I'd say 11 points a game, 5 rebounds, 2 assists.
Okay. So that's
I'm not. I'm
slightly down from his Louisville numbers. I would say his best case is a slight uptick from his Louisville numbers. You hope the Illinois system helps him.
would the best case for Trey White be he starts, or best case is that he's 6th man of the year in the Big Ten on a really
Best
good team?
best case is he's good enough to start for sure.
Okay.
Best case he's more valuable than Ty Rodgers, and you have to make that move.
Okay.
I'll say like 13 a game is the best case for Trey White. Kerry Booth. Well, we can kind of fly through the bench guys. There's 2 guys I want to get to though. Kerry Booth, what's the best case?
Best case for Kerry Booth is he actually carves out a rotational role on this team. So like
Best,
he plays 15 plus minutes a game.
best case is he's better than Rickhouse and starts at the 4.
Whoa.
Nobody wants to say that out loud, but
But you don't believe that at all, do you?
he's a talented pedigree recruit, right? Like if the pedigree recruit stuff clicks, why would he not be better than Ben Rickhouse? Like it has to click, but like This dude's supposed to be like an NBA-ish body that can shoot a bazillion threes. Like, to me, there's definitely a world he's just better than Henriquez. But am I banking on that? No, because I didn't love what I saw from him at Notre Dame. But like, if we're doing what's his ceiling, his ceiling is like the third best player on this team, and he starts at the 4.
Valid point.
Yeah. So I don't know. He's got to make shots for that to happen. The two I really want to get to. What does the best case season for Merez Johnson look like?
Big Ten freshman of the year.
What do the
And
numbers
he
look like?
starts.
What are the numbers?
Double double. I'm just gonna say that. I think he averages a double double. Best case. He's playing like 30. He's playing 30 minutes as a freshman. Averages a double double. He's a monster. Plays, has some massive games. Like he's a monster.
Last time I was sitting outside in the backyard, we were talking Illinois basketball. I said something and I got up and I ran around. I'm really tempted to do that again, but this time it's positive. The best case version for Merez Johnson in year 1 in Champaign is he leads the country in rebounding, averages like 14 rebounds a game. He's the best player on Illinois. He's the runaway Big Ten freshman of the year. And he's a first team All Big Ten player.
Sheesh.
That is the best case version. Like, could he come in and be freshman Caleb Swanigan? Yes, he could. 100% he could. Like, and I think everybody's looking around and pointing at like all these question mark guys that we've seen before, which is why when I do this exercise, the two guys that I keep coming back to are Kasparis and Merez. I think if Illinois is the best version of themselves, those guys are better than what we've already seen from Kylan Boswell and Trey White and Ben Rickhouse and Ty Rodgers in their careers. Those guys are good guys. A lot of those guys are role guys. Like, Kasparis could be a star, and Merez Johnson is a star. I'll just say it straight up. I think this dude's one of my favorite recruits I've seen come through the Big Ten in forever. And we're really focused on year 2 because of Jeremiah Fears, and it should be special. Year 1 might just be special too. This dude's an absolute no-brainer stud who outworks everybody across from him, is the most productive rebounder at the high school level I've seen in years, and I think is going to be impossible to take off the floor on this team.
I mean, I'm just as big a Merez believer as you. That is his ceiling because he is that good.
And I think of all the ceilings we've said, I'm more confident Merez hits his than anybody else we talked about, including Kasparis.
In year 1, too.
In year 1. I am convinced this kid is can't miss. And we've seen Brad be great with freshmen. Like, honestly, going through the guys, even the guys that flamed out, their best season for Illinois was their freshman season. Like, Andre Curbelo was good as a freshman. Like, Io was great as a freshman. Kofi, incredible as a freshman. Bye-bye, Georgie Basanisvili. This guy's here, and he's better than you. Like, Merez might just be that from day 1. He might be the most talented player on this team, and I'm excited to see it. And the last one is Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn.
Honestly, best case scenario is that Kylan Boswell is just like actually not that good, and Dre steps up.
I'll give you what I think is more realistic than that, because I think Kai's proven at this point on winning teams. It would be Kasparis as a total bust.
And Gibbs-Lawhorn just picks up the slack.
Kasparis shows up and straight up can't play, which I don't think is going to happen.
Yeah.
But that would be the world. Is like Kasparis shows up and he's terrified. He's Jan Vide from UCLA last year. And you have to play DGL, and then DGL ends up earning 30 minutes and scores double figures. Like, I think that could happen if that happened.
What percentage would you put on that?
Higher than people think.
Okay. Because of Kasparis or because Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn is that good?
Because Dre's that good. I still believe in Dre's talent. Like, a year ago, you were calling this kid Carson Edwards.
I still think he is.
Could be. He could be. It could happen. Yeah, double figure scoring, I think, would be the best case. So as a team, if whatever the most likely combination of that best case stuff happens for you, what does Illinois' team look like? What do they do?
They win the Big Ten.
How far do they go in March?
They for sure make the second weekend, ceiling probably like Elite Eight. So a repeat of last year is probably the best case scenario, honestly. but with, the winning of maybe the Big Ten regular season or having a more successful Big Ten regular season.
Best case, they make a Final Four. It looks a lot like Alabama's Final Four last year, where like they were good, never great during the regular season, but everything clicks at the right time. They make a special run. And it's kind of the year after the year, right? I always talk about that. A lot of times when people think it's supposed to be the year, the next year is actually when the results happen. Could happen. I don't think I see a best case. I guess I see a best case Illinois could win the Big Ten. I don't think that's as likely as making a Final Four, though. I think it's more likely they like get a good draw and win 4 games than it is over a 20-game sample size they win this league.
I'd agree with it.
Yeah. Okay. There's your best case, Illini fans. Positivity week. Wasn't that
Yeah.
fun, Cart?
No.
Can we do worst case tomorrow?
Yes.
Best case scenario, team number 2. Day full of positivity today. This team was team number 2 in the entire country last season. They were team number 2 in the national championship game last season. And they have a lot of fun things returning, a lot of unproven things returning. Should be interesting to see how high you are on some of Purdue's unproven things here. We're going to go player by player and do a best case scenario. What does it look like if they hit their ceiling this year? As we just did in the Illinois segment, if you haven't listened to that, if you listen to this individually, not all of these are going to happen. Like one player's individual ceiling is probably going to come at the expense of some other ones. So keep that in mind as you listen through this. But I am curious to see how high you are on some specific elements of this Purdue team. Let's start. Actually, do you have any words before we start? I feel like this is a divisive enough topic. You should probably just take the floor for a moment.
None of this matters because Dan Hurley's still the coach of UConn. So this, I guess, is the fun exercise for number 2.
Cool. Great. Glad that that's where we're at. Let's start with who I think is the best player in the Big Ten next season. And a lot of people have given us flack for believing this. It's Braden Smith, aka the bad man. What's the best case for Braden?
Before I say this, Greg, if I told you that Braden was going to average 15, 5, and 8, what would you say?
That seems low.
Okay, that's what Tyler Kolek averaged last year. I think that I mean, I don't know. That was, yeah, just a little fun exercise for someone to mull over. I think I think Braden Smith is gonna average. He's definitely gonna have to carry more of a scoring load, I think. I think he averages around 17 a game and 7 rebounds and 7 assists.
Okay, so to be clear, he averaged 12, 6, and 8 last season. So
Mm-hmm.
if Kolek was 15, 5, and 8, Braden was just 1 3-pointer less per game and as high or higher in everything else. I always go back to this comparison cart, and I think it's a good one. Denzel Valentine's senior season at Michigan State, he was the National Player of the Year. He averaged 19 points a game, 8 assists, and 7 rebounds.
Crazy.
That's the best case season for Braden Smith, though. That is
Right
the
now.
best case one of one. Is he is the National Player of the Year, and he puts up 19, 7, and 7.
See, I didn't think you thought he was going to get to that ceiling until the senior year.
I
You
don't
think
think it's likely. I don't think it's likely. But like, if we're just doing best case, I don't know how anybody can deny that he's possibly capable of that. He's a triple double threat. Like,
yeah, I mean, his best case is All-American, Big Ten Player of the Year, first team All Big Ten. What he did last year, first team All Big Ten, and the stats increase. He's a killer.
all right, so we're going with that. So do you think there's any world at all that he's the National Player of the Year or just the Big Ten Player of the Year?
I don't know if Purdue will be. Well, the thing is, though, if he's National Player of the Year, Purdue's nasty.
It's a best case, Cart.
Yeah, there is a world. Yes,
There is a world. That's
there's a world.
the best case for Braden, the bad man, is National Player of the Year. Fletcher Lawyer,
Yes,
what is his best case scenario?
he scores in the national championship game if they get there next year. I think Fletcher's best case scenario is he leads the Big Ten in 3-point percentage and makes
How many points a game?
15.
Okay. That'd be a jump. He was 10 a game last year. My best case, I put the glasses on. That's because my best case for Fletcher Lawyer is that he's blind to the haters. I think that's what needs to happen. Fletcher needs to put the glasses on and say, yeah, I know everybody's doubting me. Everybody's skeptical. Everybody's saying these freshmen could come in and take my role. Shut the hell up. I've started 60 games on the back-to-back Big Ten champs, and I'm a big part of that. Fletch does have some shit to him. I need to see Fletch come back from summer workouts or come to a summer workout and look noticeably stronger. That's the first thing for a best. I need him to look like he can bench 75 pounds more than he could last year. I don't know who Purdue's strength coach is, but he's on the hot seat in my mind. Fletcher Lawyer needs to get stronger. If that happens, I think there's a world where Fletcher is the breakout guy on this team. Maybe he scores 14 a game. If that happens, Braden won't score as much. But yeah, just makes all his threes, doesn't have a dry spell in the middle of the season, has some shit to him, and makes his first all Big Ten team. Not first team, but maybe second team all Big Ten. Fletcher Lawyer with a really, really good season.
Hmm. I think Fletcher's pretty blind to the haters, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe.
He just needs to play better.
I think the haters are getting louder, though. I don't think they
They
were
are.
loud until now. Now I think they're getting louder. We think Miles Colvin's going to start at 3. Miles Colvin averaged 3 points a game last season. What is a best case scenario for Miles Colvin?
I think best case scenario for Miles Colvin is he is gone after this year because he plays that well.
Whoa, seriously?
Yeah. I think best case scenario is you have a guy with his size and, a shooting ability and athleticism, and he shows that. Like, I think the thing is, I don't think that he'll take this level of a jump just because he didn't have the experience enough last season, even though he did play somewhat sparingly. But, like, depending on what you think about Miles Colvin, is his best case not a Jay Ivey-esque jump his second year?
I think Ivy showed a lot more in year 1 than
He
Miles.
did. I know he did, but like it's cheating to say it, but like a Jay Ivey light, a Gildan brand Jay Ivey jump.
So I'm gonna be honest. If there's one player from this Purdue core that I'm a little more down on than the others, it's Miles. And more on that when we get to Cam Heidi's portion and some other players here. I think Colvin is the most one-dimensional, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think he's not a passer. He's not a playmaker for others. He's not really a big-time rebounder to me. I don't think he's going to do much other than shoot the ball and hopefully make shots. And on a team that has Braden and Fletcher to an extent and a post threat, they're not going to ask him to do much more than that. Like I can't really imagine a world that's like featuring Miles Colvin this year, and that wouldn't be what's best for him or what's best for the team. So to me, the best case scenario is tied strictly to 3-point shooting. Can he shoot like, sounds crazy. Could he shoot like 50% from 3 this year?
50.
He shot 41% from 3 last season playing 8 minutes a game, but we joked about it. He would come off the bench after not taking his warm-ups off for 3 weeks at a time and swish 2 threes. So like, could he be Kobe Bryant, but start for Purdue and be Kobe Bryant?
Oh, 50 is asking a lot. It's asking a whole lot.
Kobe Bryant was great. If Kobe
Meet me
Bryant
at
can do it, Miles Colvin can do it.
meet me at well, Kobe Bryant is also like 6'8".
Okay, could he be 6'4" Kobe Bryant?
6'4" Kobe Bryant looks like 47% from 3. I'm with you.
Okay, I'm with that. That's our best case. Cam Heidi, this man looks phenomenal in a tank top.
Best case scenario for Cam Heidi is honestly, I think the best case, and this might be the best case for Purdue as well, is that Cam Heidi is the Robin to Braden Smith's Batman. I think that having having Colvin as a role as a knockdown shooter, having Lawyer as a guy who's like a knockdown shooter, basically, and then having Cam Heidi step up as like the second guy to Braden Smith, I think would be the best case scenario for Cam Heidi and Purdue.
Yeah, so Cam Heidi is like the breakout candidate I really do believe in for Purdue. And we've been in arguments all week in the Discord with people like who should you believe in, who should you not? Um You should believe in Cam Heide. Cam Heide was one of the most efficient players in the country last season. He was better from the floor and better from three than Miles Colvin was. He took all the bench minutes away from Colvin by the end of the year, for the most part, until the national championship game got here. He's bigger. He can defend. He's an athlete. That dunk in the national championship game is still playing on repeat in my mind. I think this is Purdue's best wing. I think it was going to be Purdue's best wing, even if Cannon Catching showed up. I think the best case scenario for him is you can never take him off the floor. He's a 35-minute a game guy. He shoots 40% from three. Maybe the averages still aren't super high because I think it's going to be run through Braden in the post, but like I think he could be a 13 or 14 a game guy with 5 rebounds and assists per game, super efficient. And there starts to be talk of like, this is an NBA athlete. You need to draft him.
Like, so he's gone, best case scenario after this year.
I think if he plays really, really well, there is a world where he will be considered a first round pick by NBA franchises. Yes.
Worst case scenario is he's not as good as Cannon Catchings.
That would be bad. We think the starting center will be Trey Kaufman-Renn.
I think best case scenario for Trey Kaufman-Renn would be I think best case scenario for Trey Kaufman-Renn is that he's the best big in the league.
Numbers.
16 a game, 8 rebounds, and like a cheeky 3 assists on there as well.
Just a really cheeky.
A real cheeky 3 assists.
16, 8, and 3.
Yeah.
Sounds a lot like Malik Renew's numbers last year at Indiana.
Yeah. That's where I was getting at somewhat.
15, 6, and 3 from Malik last year. So that's like the best case for TKR is just 1 extra point and 2 rebounds more than Malik Renew.
Yeah. Because I think Malik Renew is going to average that this season.
Interesting. They're going to call me crazy again, Cart. They are.
They always do.
The best case for TKR is he's like 19 a game scoring. I almost said 20, but I don't want people to kill me.
19.
Cart, this was the best player when they did the overseas trip and Edie didn't play. TKR was the best player on the floor per everybody that watched him. He was featured. He was unstoppable. He started out of position last season because Painter wanted to reward that. And whenever Edie got into foul trouble, TKR destroyed everyone. Like he was the best player on the floor in the game against Illinois that they won when Edie barely played. So, like all we've really seen when Edie's out is TKR's featured and he kills. Until we see something else happen, that's kind of what I expect to happen. Now, I don't think like to me, Braden's the best player, and there's too much wing talent here for him to really be featured like that. But I think TKR's best case scenario would be some of the wings aren't ready and they need to double and triple down on post feeds as the heart of the offense. If that happens, I think the scoring upside is really, really high. I don't think he has 3 assists in this game because you don't need anybody to pass the ball when you have Braden. To that point last year, nobody averaged 2 assists on the team last season because Braden did everything. I still think that's what's going to happen. But scoring wise, I think the ceiling is extremely, extremely high for Kaufman-Renn. First team All Big Ten for sure is a best case scenario.
That would make Paint the happiest too. To just
Would,
keep it alive.
what would make him most happy is actually what happens next. Daniel Jacobson, what's the best case scenario for the 7'2" freshman?
Leads the Big Ten in blocks as a freshman.
How many minutes does he play?
25.
Is he coming off the bench?
Starting best case scenario.
Does he get any All Big Ten honorees?
No.
Best case scenario for Daniel Jacobson is that he is Purdue's starting center from the very first game. He is Purdue's second best player from the very first game. He leads the Big Ten in blocks. He makes shots from outside. He shoots like 35% from 3. And he's the runaway Big Ten freshman of the year over the Rutgers guys. I don't know where Cart went. I think I lost his respect.
I can't wrap my head around the fact that the kid blocks a couple Argentinian accountants, and now he gets these accolades.
It's a best case scenario. His ceiling is
Okay,
that
okay, you know what? And I let everything out. I'm putting my foot down. I'm not being a pushover. There you go, Sleepers fans. This is where I'm putting it down. Come on, man.
the,
Come on now.
the best case scenario isn't they push TKR out of position again. That's a
They do.
best case
They
scenario.
do. You had me with the starting. You even had me with leading in blocks. But the second leading scorer,
Second best player on the team is what I said.
second best player on the team,
Second best player behind Braden. Yes, that's the ceiling. That's a best case scenario for Daniel Jacobson.
ceiling, and best case scenario are different.
What is every other Purdue player doing on the U18 USA team?
What is every other Purdue player doing?
Yeah, like because he was the second best player on that team, and that team's full of future NBA guys, right?
Yeah, I think that TKR would have been MVP. I think that
What do you think Caleb First is?
I think Caleb First is actually doing better than what Jacobson did.
That's insane.
Right, Caleb First today?
That's insane.
Caleb First today.
So do you think Steven Crowell today is breaking Miles Turner's record in that tournament?
Yes.
That's insane.
Yes. Literally, yes.
I think it's insane. I think you're downplaying this.
I'm not. I think Derek Queen would do that. I think everyone would do that.
Derek Queen might. Derek Queen wasn't there. Daniel Jacobson was there.
Okay.
Blame Tommy Lloyd. Like, what do you want from me? He was just the second best player on this team full of future pros, future college stars, 5-star kids.
He was second best?
Yeah, Acuff was the best. He was second best.
Okay. He didn't make like all tournament team or whatever for the U18.
In my opinion, the box scores we saw, the film that we watched, the actual game footage we saw, he was clearly the second best player.
Agree to disagree.
I mean, if you're going to take this stance, like we're doing best case scenario, so you don't think he has a high ceiling in year one?
I think a high ceiling for him would be leading the Big Ten in blocks year one.
That's definitely a high ceiling, yeah.
Yeah, that's it though. Everything else.
If you're just taking issue with he's the second best player on Purdue.
Yeah.
You don't think he could be better than TKR this year?
No, not a world, not a chance, not even a highest ceiling best case scenario where he's better than TKR this year. Zero, absolutely negative possibility. Can't wait for this to be clipped and backfired, but no.
We already saw
not a world.
We already saw Painter go away from a guy like Travion Williams for a 7-footer before, though.
Not for just any 7-footer. The 2-time National Player of the Year 7-footer.
Sophomore Zach Edey wasn't the National Player of the Year. Let's not act like he was polished like that.
Sophomore Zach Edey's better than Jacobson.
Definitely.
Freshman year Zach Edey's better than Jacobson.
Definitely. Zach Edey.
Freshman year TKR is better than Jacobson.
Dog, junior year TKR scored 6 points a game last year. It's not like this is some crazy bar for Daniel Jacobson to be better than. Like, I know we believe TKR could be good. He averaged 6 and 4 last year. That's not insane to think that the second best player for Team USA could be better.
Jacobson leads a tournament in blocks where he had Messi's nephews just literally at all of 6'4" coming at maximum, trying to challenge a 7'3" dude, because I don't know if that translates into Argentinian, and we're just acting like this guy is Like, I think we just need to pump the brakes on
Not saying he's transcendent. We're doing a best case scenario exercise.
I know, but it's just not sitting right with me.
Okay, we're going to have to do, if this is how you got through the best case scenario exercise, we have to do a full what is Daniel Jacobson's role going to be conversation later this week, because you've been holding things back and we need to have that conversation. Okay, down the list here, Caleb First. What's the best case scenario? Is he going to play?
His best case scenario is probably, honestly, I mean, would say in his best case is that he starts with the 4 next to TKR.
I don't think that could happen. I'll be stunned if Caleb First is in the rotation, and that's
best case scenario is that First has a Gillis-like role on this team.
I think that might be even a little rosy, because you don't want to play him at the 4 if you're Payne, and he's not a 5. Like, Painter's never going to play him over whoever the better 7-footer is the backup center. So is he earning minutes at the 4 over Heidi? Like over TKR next to the 7-footer? Like no way, you know?
So what's your best case for first?
He's in the rotation at all.
Just in rotation? Okay.
Like Ethan Morton-esque. He plays every game, usually. That might be a little harsh, but
that's probably right though.
Jakari Harris.
Red shirts.
Come on. He's gonna be their backup point guard, I think. Him or CJ Cox.
I mean, I think best case for Harris is honestly just it shit doesn't fall apart when he touches the floor when Braden's not on the floor. Otherwise, Braden's on the floor.
All right, that doesn't seem very optimistic. My best case scenario for Jakari Harris is freshman year Jaden Ivey.
And what did that entail?
Really comes along in the second half of the year, earns more minutes, and ends up being like a 20, 25 minutes a game guy off the bench. But then by next year, this time, we're doing like massive breakout Jakari Harris conversations.
Oh,
yeah.
Alrighty then.
Like there's real dialogues about like, is Jakari so good? Fletcher Lawyer needs to play the 3, or like Miles.
Jaden Ivey averaged 11 as a freshman.
Yeah.
You think Jakari Harris has that? Best case scenario?
By the end of the year, he's playing like that. I think that could happen.
Oh, okay.
He's the only other freshman I believe in this class. I'm kind of out on Benter and Cox.
Okay.
Burgess. Anybody? Any of those guys? Burgess, Benter, Cox. Do we need to name any of those guys?
I don't think so.
Okay. So overall, add it all together. What's the best case outcome for Purdue, the team?
Best case is that after all the back-to-back National Player of the Year that they had in Zach Edey, Braden Smith ends up being the reason they get over the hump finally and win a national championship.
How many minutes is Daniel Jacobson playing if they win a national championship card?
At max, 14.
I feel like they're tied together.
Their best case scenario, Jacobson doesn't touch the floor because TKR is so great at center and Heidi's a killer at the 4.
They still need other bigs. They need a bench.
Which is where Jacobson plays that max 15 minutes.
The best case scenario for Purdue is that Cannon Catchings is horrible at BYU.
That's it.
And that Purdue, you're right. Purdue wins a national championship.
And then somehow Purdue plays BYU in the tournament as the 9 seed. And then they wash them.
Purdue sweeps Indiana. Purdue wins a national championship over Hurley in the title game. And then the Lakers offer Painter $8 million a year next summer.
And he says no.
And he says no. Best case scenario, Indiana Hoosiers. I'm honestly getting tired of being positive. This is the third one we're doing today. And yikes. A lot too much positivity. But this team I actually love being positive on. So I don't know. I might say some crazy things here. Do you want to set the tone for Indiana best case scenario?
I think just laying the groundwork that you think that this team is going to win the Big Ten and that they're going to be incredible this year and they're a top 10 team in the country. I think that needs to be known.
Yeah, I've already said they're top 10. I've already said they're going to sweep Purdue, and I've already said they are going to win the Big Ten by 3 games. And that wasn't best case scenario version. So that's just what I think is going to happen. I'm kind of afraid of where we're going to go as this goes. We'll go player by player and give you a best case. This was inspired by David Klein's exercise he made us do for Michigan State a couple weeks ago. So let's start with Miles Rice. What's the best case scenario for Miles Rice this season?
That he's the best guard in the state of Indiana.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, there's a lot of Braden Smith hype coming into this year by us for sure. And we believe that hype. But the best case scenario is that he ends up being better than Braden Smith.
Ooh.
Because he's Pac-12 freshman of the year last year, man. That's nothing to bat an eye at. Miles Rice might be a killer.
Yeah, I think it's possible. Except I don't think what are we doing? You think he could be better than Braden Smith? Really? Remember who Braden is.
Best case scenario.
Braden's great already, though. Like, you actually think the best case version of Miles Rice is better than Braden? Really?
There's a world,
Is there?
maybe.
I'm not trying to get Indiana fans mad at me before all the nice things I say, but like if the proposition was dialed up where they could get best case Miles Rice versus what Braden Smith already is, I think they would all never watch the movie Hoosiers again to take Braden Smith for 2 years.
Okay. Bonus best case scenario, Liam McNeely comes back.
All right. I think Miles Rice could be a first team all Big Ten guard. I don't think he's better than Braden, though. I think Braden's that good. And I think the best case version of Miles Rice needs to include making shots from three, like a 35% shooter from three, 15 points, 4 assists. That's it. I think that if Indiana's that good, Miles Rice does that, he could be first team all Big Ten.
I like where I'm at. I think I did a good job of knocking you off your pivot early on Indiana video.
Yeah, I feel like we're going head to head, and I don't get why.
Yeah, we shouldn't. We shouldn't. We shouldn't.
Who's the starting shooting guard?
Best case scenario, I think it's Trey Galloway.
I got really distracted because I just looked at my camera and realized that like the way my table's cut, it looks like I'm leaning on top of these people playing golf right now. It's really interesting. Look at this. That's great.
That is kind of nice.
Make that putt right there. Sorry, Trey Galloway. I really got so distracted, I lost
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I think Trey. I think best case scenario is Trey Galloway as a starting two guard, right?
Nothing on top of that. Just same guy he was last year, but starts at the two.
But he shoots 32% from three.
I think a best case would be 40% for free. He had a really good.
Damn.
He had a really good shooting season the year before this. He just fell off a cliff last year.
Well, in the best case scenario for Indiana and for the team, do you think Trey Galloway is starting two guard?
For the team, no. For Trey Galloway, yeah. For the team, no.
Okay. So are we doing team or Trey Galloway?
We'll do team later. The best case for Trey would be he starts at the two, and yeah, like a special like 12 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 40% from three.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Mackenzie Mbako, best case scenario.
Oh. Yeah, I mean the best case for Mackenzie Mbako is that he is Big Ten Player of the Year because Indiana's the best team in the conference and he is probably the best NBA prospect on there and he plays like a lottery pick.
Best case scenario for Mackenzie Mbako is Big Ten Player of the Year. In the two head-to-heads with Purdue, he has 35 and 33 points. He gets taken third overall in the NBA draft next season because he is the leading scorer in the Big Ten and a total stud.
My word.
It's possible. Like
It is.
we're on the same page right now. This is why Indiana's upside is so high, dude. I'm telling you. Malik Renew. What's the best case scenario for Malik Renew? You're going to be higher on this than I am. I'm scared of what you're about to say.
I think Malik Renew averages, I think he's the leading scorer for Indiana. I think he averages 18 a game. I think he pitches in, not going to have as many boards. So I think like five to six rebounds and right around 4 assists a game as well.
What is that? Is that a first team All Big Ten player?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess. This is we're doing the Illinois thing, except these are more likely to me. We've said Miles Rice could be first team All Big Ten. We've said Mbako could be the Big Ten Player of the Year. I think Malik Renew could be, in a best case world, first team All Big Ten with similar numbers to what you said. It probably would require Ballo to like not be that good and or the guards to be a disaster, and you have to like play through Renew more as like a point forward. But it's possible. He's capable of that. I think the reality is like 16, 6, and 4. Very similar numbers to what he had last year, but maybe a little more efficient is the best case scenario. Umar Ballo, what's the best ceiling for him this year?
I don't know if this is a good exercise to do moving forward because you want to know the first thing that came to my head?
Big Ten Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they feature him and like he averages like a crazy double-double this season, like 18 and 12.
This is what we're learning the difference between Indiana and these other teams we're doing this for because they could feature like 6 different guys and have them be that good. That's why I'm so high on Indiana. Umar Ballo's ceiling. Car, be careful.
Oh God, you're gonna do it, aren't you? I know what you're gonna do. Are you gonna compare him to that one fella that used to play in Champaign?
Umar Ballo's ceiling is a first team All American, and he's not the consensus National Player of the Year, but he wins like Sporting News National Player of the Year.
Greg,
There's a National Player of the Year split, and Sporting News gives it to Umar.
put your
I
put your sunglasses on correctly.
I think the numbers end up looking like 18 points a game, 13 rebounds, if that happens.
My word, what a year.
A lot of guys miss shots on Indiana. He gets a lot of offensive rebounds.
That's the best case scenario. Everyone's broke.
It could happen. It could happen. No, it could happen. Like it could happen. Cannon Carlisle is first off the bench, I guess, in this world. I'll go first. In my opinion, Cannon Carlisle is going to start on this team. So the best case scenario for him is he starts. The best case scenario also probably is that Miles Rice isn't that good, and Cannon Carlisle is the best guard in this backcourt, and ends up like 14. The same numbers we set for Miles Rice, 14 points, 4 assists. That could be Cannon Carlisle instead.
Yeah, and I'd agree with all that, but also put another little extra on that. It would be similar to what you stated. Like I think like freshman year, what Jaden Ivey did with Purdue, like he came on late and started playing massive and putting up stats. I think there could be that same level of like Cannon Carlisle's just like that guy. Like he was a McDonald's All-American for a reason type thing.
Yeah. Luke Goody, best case scenario.
Best case scenario is he's Ginger Miller Cop.
I don't even care about the per game numbers or the role. I think he is what he is. There's no world where he starts. The best case scenario for Luke Goody is that he has a 30-point game where he makes 10 threes and they beat Illinois.
I was just gonna say the best case scenario is that they win a game because of Luke Goody against Illinois. Like he does it. He buries them with a 3.
And I do think it could happen, honestly. Bryson Tucker. Cart.
Greg.
Cart.
No, what are you gonna do?
The best case scenario is that Bryson Tucker is the best freshman guard in the league. It is.
You don't believe that though.
I don't, but it's the best case. His talent's that high. I don't believe it's going to happen because I think they're too loaded everywhere else. But there's a best case world where he's the best guard on Indiana.
I'm banning this positivity exercise. This worked with Michigan State because there's not the level of talent there are with other teams. We can't do this exercise with talented teams.
We got to Michigan State's 4th best player, and we are like, yeah, best case is like 9-3.
Yeah, we're getting to the 9th guy off the bench. Oh yeah, maybe Big Ten Player of the Year.
Indiana, we're just like freshman of the year, player of the year, boom, boom, boom. What do you think his best case is though, for real?
Sixth man of the year.
Okay. You don't think there's any world where he starts?
Actually, best case scenario is like he's the starting 2 guard and this team's incredible.
Right. It could happen.
God,
who's
the coach?
Do you now understand why I'm so high on Indiana? Because it's warranted based on this roster. It's real.
Yes.
It's real.
Yes.
Gabe Cups was the best case scenario.
We get 5 Gabe Cups games.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And one of them's against Purdue.
My best case for Gabe is Indiana women's basketball gets their own version of like a Caitlin Clark, and Gabe Cup starts dating her. If he could pull the Connor McCaffrey off, that's a best case for Gabe for sure.
That'd be pretty good for him.
It'd be good for the brand of Indiana basketball too. Okay, I think that's everything. Do you want to give Mike Woodson a best case?
Best case scenario is that Mike Woodson shuts me up. That's best case.
I thought you could pivot that to like best case is Mike Woodson steps down and Indiana gets a different coach midseason.
Damn, didn't think about that. Damn it. Too much positivity. I don't work good in this environment.
You don't. You're really bad at this. What's the best case for Indiana, the team, though, to wrap this up?
They sweep Purdue. They hang at least one banner, preferably regular season. They go further than any Big Ten team in the national tournament.
How far is it though?
Final Four.
You're gonna stop there?
Yep.
So you said Purdue's best case is they win a national championship. And Indiana's best case is a Final Four?
Yep. Oh no.
It's a best case, right?
Yeah, you know it. Why are you asking me that? You know it is. It's our third one. Yes, yes, it is.
What you know what, here, take this. It's my dog shot collar. You're gonna want this after I'm done. Uh what's been the consistent trend, the consistent theme with Big Ten basketball the last 4 seasons?
That Purdue just dominated.
But everybody else other than Purdue, what's been like the theme?
Can't get it done in March.
It's kind of that everybody's bad, right?
Yeah.
Like we remember some good Brad Underwood seasons, but like Michigan historically bad, Michigan State in a down dry spell, Ohio State stinky, had to fire their coach. Iowa, does Fran even want to do this anymore? Wisconsin, yuck, Greg Gard. Like everybody's just kind of bad, right?
Yeah.
And everybody being bad has like opened the door for like Boo Booey and Chris Collins to look good. And like, I mean, Purdue was great. Don't get me wrong. Purdue is great. But like, Purdue looking so historically dominant has kind of also paired with the rest of the Big Ten being gross, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Best case scenario for Indiana is that every other Big Ten team is actually gross. There's no other top 25 team in this league, and Indiana runs the table 20-0 in the regular season.
My word. My word. Okay. That aligns with what you've been saying.
Sweet Purdue, 20-0 in the Big Ten, win the Big Ten title, win the national championship.
Good Lord, Gregory.
It's a best case scenario. It's a 1 of 1 outcome. 1 out of 1,000 times will that happen, but it could happen. Who was that guy from the Mormons, the Brigham Young guy?
Nelson.
Nelson M. something.
Nelson M. Shyamalan.
Russell M. Nelson.
Yeah.
One big thing presented by Russell M. Nelson. What do you got today?
My one big thing is that sunscreen's overrated. If you want to get out of the sun, just get out of the sun. If you want to get tan, get in the sun. I think sunscreen is extremely overrated.
My one big thing is that your camera froze right when you said that. And I think that's a really, really bad sign for your take that sunscreen's overrated.
But what the take came across, correct?
The take came across, but like you looked horrible saying it.
That's fine. The take is the take.
The take is the take. That's the show. Let's be a lot more negative tomorrow. Thanks for listening.
What's your one big thing?
My one big thing is that your camera froze. That was a serendipitous moment.